So, Stephanie and I gave you your number. Yeah. I put it in and it was yours. Yeah. I don't know what it's for. Oh, they were still all, I was. Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. If everybody please rise, face the flag. Councilman Kearns will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone can stand for a minute and give a moment of silence for all our brothers and sisters overseas fighting for our freedom and defending our democracy, and as well as the first responders keeping us safe every day. Thank you.
Thank you. I call this meeting to order, and I ask our town clerk, Alice Daly, to please do a roll call attendance.
Councilman Kearns?
Present.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Here.
Councilman Lombardi?
Here.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Here. Would somebody make a motion to accept the town board minutes from October 16, October 23rd, and November 6th, please?
So moved.
Second.
A second by, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. All right, our first resolution is amending and adopting the preliminary budget as annual budget. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Sure. Whereas the town board has met at the time and place specified in the notice of public hearing on the preliminary budget and heard all persons desiring to be heard thereon, and whereas following public hearing, the town board met with the town controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, regarding the amended preliminary budget to arrive at a final budget for fiscal year 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that a final budget as incorporated herein and made part hereof is hereby adopted as the annual budget of the town of Carmel for fiscal year beginning the first day of January 2025, and that such budget as so adopted be entered in detail in the minutes of the town board, and be it further resolved that town clerk and Alice Daly shall prepare and certify in duplicate copies of said annual budget as adopted by the town board, together with the assessment rolls for benefit improvement adoption pursuant to section 202-A subsection 2 of the town law, and deliver one copy thereto to the town Supervisor Michael Cazzari, to be presented by him to the Putnam County Legislature. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Now, Greg, there's supposed to be 2 copies I saw in town law. Does it matter? Yeah. Yeah,
Move as amended, 2 copies.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So we get a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Second item is scheduling a public hearing to hear objections to the assessment rolls for the operation and maintenance of the improvements of the sewer and water districts for fiscal year 2025. Whereas the town of Carmel hereby has completed its assessment rolls for the operation and maintenance of the improvements serving Carmel Sewer District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and extensions thereto, as well as Carmel Water Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, and 14, and extensions thereto, as well as the Town of Carmel Garbage District of the said town for fiscal year 2025, and whereas said assessment rolls have been filed with Alice Daly, Town Clerk of the Town of Carmel, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby schedules a public hearing at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, 10541 on Wednesday, December 11, 2024, at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter that evening as possible for the purpose of considering any objections which may be made to said assessment rolls. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Number 3 is a resolution authorizing entry into contracts with Penflax, Inc. for Service Award Program Administration. Councilwoman McDonough, could you read that?
Sure. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as the Commissioners of Carmel Fire Protection Districts, probably not much. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sick. This is as far as I can go. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, acting as the Commissioners of Carmel Fire Protection Districts number 1 and 2, hereby authorizes entry into service award program service agreements with Penflex, Inc. of Latham, New York, for administration services for the Fire Protection District Service Award programs for the year November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2024, at an estimated cost of $8,300 for Fire Protection District Number 1 and $8,900 for Fire Protection District Number 2. And be further resolved, the Town Supervisor, Michael Cazzari, is hereby authorized to sign any and all documentation required to effect this authorization on the terms set forth herein. I hope this resolution is read. What? So amended through October 31st, 2025.
Second.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Most of us can't hear. Can you turn up a volume or something?
Now, what I'll do, Supervisor, would you mind if I don't read
I'll
tonight?
just read them. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll just take turns. We'll just skip her.
Thank you.
we'll skip that. Can you hear me? Thank you.
Nobody is speaking right into the microphone. That's the problem.
No, we are.
So, can we get a roll call vote?
We got a second.
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Number 4 is a resolution accepting proposal for internal audit services. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Can you guys hear me?
It hurts
Resolved
my
that the
ears.
Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal of PKF O'Connor Davies, Harrison, New York, for professional services including the performance, preparation of internal audit and annual comprehensive financial statements for the Town of Carmel for fiscal years 2024 through 2026 at a total estimated cost of $81,000 for 2024. $82,500 for 2025, and $84,000 for 2026, in accordance with the proposal quotation dated October 30, 2024. And be it further resolved that the Town Supervisor, Michael Cazzari, is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to accept said proposal. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. Can we get a roll call vote?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Our fifth resolution is declaring certain equipment obsolete and authorizing its disposal. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Sure. Resolved that upon the recommendation of Town of Carmel Superintendent of Highways Michael Stern, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby declares the following equipment to be obsolete and hereby authorizes its disposal in accordance with town law. Car number 5, 2015 Dodge Charger, VIN 5249. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Could we please have a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Our next resolution is authorizing levy pursuant to Town Code Chapter 114, Property Maintenance Law. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel had previously duly authorized the correction of Town Code violations existing at the premises known and designated as Town of Carmel Tax Map Number 44.17-1-45 and 55.19-1-19.1, and whereas such authority to direct correction of the aforesaid violations is specifically set forth in the enumerated pursuant to Chapter 114 of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel Property Maintenance Law, and whereas such work and action to correct the aforesaid Town Code violations was undertaken and performed at the aforesaid premises by Sean's Lawn and Landscaping at a cost of $4,500 and Putnam Property Maintenance at a cost of $2,800, and whereas the Town Board has been advised that pursuant to Town Code 114-15B, the owner of the aforesaid premise has failed, refused, or neglected to pay the full amount due to the Town of Carmel for the costs incurred in correcting such violations, and that more than 20 days has elapsed since the demand for such payment has been made. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, pursuant to Section 114-15C of the Town Code of the Town of Carmel, as well as the applicable provisions of New York Town Law, hereby authorizes submission to the aforesaid amounts for costs incurred in correction such violations at aforesaid premise to the Putnam County Legislature for the levy of such charges on the 2015 County and Town Tax Bill. I offer this as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. Can we please have a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Number 7 is a resolution authorizing a refund for building permit fee.
10
Councilman
years ago.
Kearns, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town of Carmel Director of Code Enforcement Michael Carnazza, hereby authorizes a refund of fee for fire inspection for the property known as 105 Glenada Avenue, Town of Carmel, tax map number 44.13-2-20, in the amount of $100 to 105 Glenada Avenue Corp. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. Can we have a roll call?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. The next resolution is authorizing submission of statement of delinquent Town of Carmel Water District charges for levy on the 2025 county and town tax rolls. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel, pursuant to Section 198 of New York Town Law, hereby authorizes submission of the attached statements in delinquent water charges and sewer charges for various Town of Carmel water districts and sewer districts as prepared by the Town Controller's Office as attached hereto and made part hereof to the Putnam County Legislature for levy of such charges on the 2025 county and town tax bill. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded by McDonough. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns? Yes. Councilman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Number 9 is a resolution authorizing amendment to the contract for professional services R 2022 2023-03 Downtown Mahopac Improvements. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the amendment of the contract previously authorized with Woodard and Kern Engineering, Rybrook, New York, design, permitting, bid, and construction phase services for the downtown Mahopac improvements to include the coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds addendum, said addendum to be in the form as attached hereto and made a part hereof. For this is read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Number 10 is a resolution acknowledging performance of repairs and services and authorizing payment. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the performance of services and repairs which are reflected in the memorandum of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., to the Town Board dated November 5, 2024, as attached hereto and made a part thereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. Can we get a roll call on that, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. The next one is a resolution accepting proposal. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal of Electronic System Solutions, Nutley, New Jersey, for the decommissioning and removal of existing radio tower and installation of 2 temporary mounts and VHF base stations at the Town Hall facility at a cost not to exceed $14,627, and in accordance with the proposal dated November 5, 2024, and be it further resolved that upon review of insurance certificates in form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to execute all contract instruments and all documentation necessary to accept said bids and contracts for said services. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough? Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Next up is a resolution authorizing the award of bid for air conditioning units, Town of Carmel, Contract C299. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Carmel has previously authorized advertisement for various improvements to be performed at Carmel Town Hall, specifically for the furnishing of 3 new air conditioning units at the Town of Carmel Town Hall, and whereas such bids were received and opened on October 24, 2024, and a bid opening memo is on file with Town Clerk Alice Daly, and now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., the Town Board hereby awards the aforesaid bid to Sun Dance Energy Contractors doing business as Markey Mechanical, Peekskill, New York, the low responsible bidder meeting specifications at a contract cost of $136,230, and be it further resolved that upon review of the insurance certificates and bonds in the form acceptable to Town Council, Town Supervisor Michael Cazzari is hereby authorized to execute all contract instruments and other documentation necessary to accept such bid and contract for said services. I offer this as read.
Second.
Seconded by Kearns. Can we have a roll call on that, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough? Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Cazzari?
Yes. Number 13.
Supervisor, just for the sake of the public that's here, these few resolutions that we just had with regard to spending some money on the air conditioners and the roofing system, that's money paid for by ARPA funding. So we received $1 million, so we have to spend it pursuant to the rules by the end of this year. So these are the couple of bids that have came in that we've approved. So we're going to be redoing the roof on the town hall. We're going to be redoing the air conditioning here at town hall, and some windows and some other things. So that's where the money's coming from.
Thank you. So next up is a resolution in support of the Commission of Traffic Studies within the Town of Carmel. Councilman Kearns, could you read that?
Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby supports the commission of a study by the New York State Department of Transportation for the purpose of establishing 3-hour parking restrictions on U.S. Route 52 Glen Ida Avenue in Carmel from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on both the easterly and westerly sides from the intersection of Route 6 north to the intersection of Fowler Avenue, and be it further resolved that the Town Supervisor, Michael Cazzari, is hereby authorized to transmit a copy of this resolution to New York State Department of Transportation immediately. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Number 14, and our last of the voting meeting, is a resolution authorizing Superintendent of Highways to purchase equipment. Councilman Lombardi, could you read that?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes Town of Carmel Superintendent of Highways Michael Stern to purchase one 2026 Freightliner 108 SD cab and chassis with Henderson dump body and plow package at a cost not to exceed $297,429 from Houston Freightliner on the Houston-Galveston Area Council Contract Number HT 06-20 pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 103-16, and be it further resolved, the Town Supervisor, Michael Cazzari, is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documentation to effectuate this authorization, and be it further resolved, the Town Controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget revisions to effect the aforesaid purchase transaction authorized herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Kearns?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. So can I get a
And
motion?
this was money that had been budgeted over the years in the equipment line, so we're not borrowing for this, we're paying for it outright.
Yes. Can I get a motion to close the voting meeting?
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Alice.
Great, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Thanks,
Alice.
Alice.
Thank you.
So somebody make a motion to open the work session?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Yep.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right, first up, we have 4 items on the work session. First up, I ask the board members to please review the minutes from the November 13, 2024 Town Board meeting that Alice Daly had provided to you. Number 1 is our Town Comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell. Consider October budget revisions, 2024/05. Mary Ann?
Good evening. Yes, these are the budget revisions through October 31st of 2024. The first one is to provide and transfer for police overtime and other salary expenses. The funding is coming from Putnam County DWI reimbursement, and we're also taking $100,000 from the fund balance. $97,000 is going into the overtime line, and $50,000 is going into the holiday pay line, and $10,000 into the night differential. So those salary lines are over budget at this point. Number 2, we're providing for the payout of a settlement for a retiree of $25,000. Number 3, we're providing for the payout of accrued vacation time in the Justice Court Department and the Highway Admin Department. Number 4, we're transferring $8,000 into the community police overtime. This $8,000 is coming from the town board line. Because you have a vacancy, there is a excess funding in that line. So we're transferring $8,000 right now into the community police, which is basically for celebration overtime. We're transferring $8,000 into that line. Number 5, we're providing for the purchase of the 2024 Dodge Durango SUVs. That's $103,000. That's also coming from the fund balance. This we're budgeting for in the 2025 budget, but the police were able to get the vehicles now, and so we're taking it from the fund balance and not having to budget for it next year. Number 6, we're transferring for police ERT training activities, $49,000. This is coming from the contingent line. Also from the contingent line is the East of Hudson watershed cost sharing, $9,300 and $23,800. That $23,800 is an estimate for the end of year cost that we usually have to pay. So that's coming from the contingent line. Also, from the contingent line is the town hall duct cleaning of $7,900. So there is no more money in the contingent line for this year, so just want to let you, make you aware of that. Number 9, we're transferring for employee and retiree health insurance costs. This is basically coming from the other health insurance cost. We didn't get these rates until the budget was adopted last year, and unfortunately, we don't have the rates yet for 2025. So I did budget 10% increase, so I'm hoping when I get that, percent increase, that will be funded for 2025. Number 10, we're transferring for insurance expenses, a total of $55,000. This is also coming from general fund expenses. Our claims in the special districts are what increased in 2024, so we had to transfer money for that. In the general fund and the police department and the highway expense and the recreation, numbers 11, 12, 13, and 14, we're basically just transferring funds within those departments to cover expenses. In the highway fund, we're transferring for the purchase of the Vector 2100 sewer cleaning vehicle unit of $558,000. And then number 15, we're transferring for other highway expenses within the highway fund. On page 3, this is the water districts. We're basically transferring within the water districts for costs such as chemicals, emergency repairs, other operating expenses, and equipment. These transfers are coming from within the funds, so we're not having to transfer any money from the fund balances. And on page 4, we're transferring for the treatment for PFOAs and PFOAS. Again, this is coming from within the water districts. Sewer district number 1, we're transferring for utility expenses of $2,000. And sewer district number 2, 4, 5, and 6, we're transferring for sludge expenses. In sewer district number 6, we are having to take $5,000 from the fund balance, but that's it for that. Okay, and on page 5, also sewer district number 7, we're transferring for sludge expenses. Carmel Lighting District, we're providing for the utility expenses. We are having to take $6,800 from the fund balance. And then in the highway resurfacing capital fund, we are providing for highway resurfacing costs. This is $1.3 million, and that money is coming from ARPA funding. So that is no cost to the taxpayers. And then the last one, number 37, in the water districts, the lead. This is just to provide for additional capital costs in the lead capital project. And that's it. Any other questions?
Thanks, Marianne.
Marianne, just the one on 17.
17?
Yeah, the $300 for the Social Security, and then the contractual expenses for Lake Secor Park District.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to know what it.
It's well, the $300 is because the utility costs went up in the Secor district. And the Social Security is basically, we have lifeguards in that district. So it's basically the FICA and Medicare cost to pay for the, that the town has to pay for the lifeguards. So that's what that is. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So consider obsolete equipment. Police Chief Anthony Hoffman.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. I have one item for your consideration this evening. As the board is aware, back in 2023, the department replaced our patrol rifles. These are the M4 AR-15 style rifles that we carry in our patrol cars. With that said, the rifles that were previously there were a set of rifles that were purchased back around September 11th, 2001. They were considerably aged, and the wear and tear on them required an extensive overhaul that the firearms unit determined that the cost effectiveness was more towards replacing the rifles completely. Due to slack time, the rifles had to be built and put out on the road. We couldn't do a straight trade-in for the old rifles for the new rifles. So as a result, we have a surplus of 17 rifles that we no longer need. Based on the recommendation of the Firearms Unit Supervisor, Sergeant Anderson, he recommends that we declare these obsolete and put them out for auction or sale to a local federal firearms license holder. At this time, the estimate is that we'll get maybe about $200 a rifle. So that would give us, with the 17 rifles, obviously $3,400. That would be used to defray the cost of, obviously, ammunition or other firearms equipment. So based upon my memo and the attachment thereof, the back of that, or the next page of that, is the 17 rifles. There are 14 Bushmaster rifles and 3 FN rifles. I would recommend that the board declare these obsolete so they can be disposed of, sold to a FFL holder, and the town will recoup the proceeds. So, any questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks, Chief.
So consider request to accept contract C302, our Director of Recreation, Nina Kalmeyer. Hi, Nina.
Hello, good evening, Board. So I have one item tonight for your consideration. Like you'd mentioned, Supervisor Cazzari, C302, supply and installation of the HVAC unit and air handler at Sycamore Park. This is one of the ARPA projects that we're working on. We did have, on November 13th at 11 a.m., the bids were opened by the town clerk for the above-named project. A copy of the bid results are attached in the packet for you all. The scope of work involves the furnishing of all tools, equipment, and materials, labor for the removal and replacement of one existing air conditioning unit with air handler and 2 thermostats that's located at Sycamore Park. Total of 5 sets of bid documents were picked up by prospective bidders. We did have 5 contractors attend our pre-bid meeting, and 1 addendum was issued. 4 bids were received for this project. We conducted an analysis and of the 2 lowest bidders. A copy of the assessment is provided. Based on the evaluation, bid amounts, experience of bidder, project needs, and prior experience, we recommend that the contract be awarded to Thermodynamics Corp. In the amount of $19,315 as the lowest qualified bidder for this project.
It's a wide range.
Yes, it is a wide range. Yeah, so the lowest bidder actually came in closest to our original quote that we received from the company that we utilize right now. So it is very close to what it is supposed to cost, but yeah, it was definitely a wide range. Any other questions?
Good job.
Thanks, Nina.
And lastly, consider request for contract amendment for Swan Cove, Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., Town Engineer. Rich?
Good evening, Board. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So as Supervisor mentioned, this is for the design of downtown Mahopac. In 2022, we put out the RFP. We sent it to 26 consulting firms. It was to finalize the previously approved plans for downtown improvements. RFPs were received. There were 5 that entered. 3 of them were selected down. The board ended up choosing Woodard and Curran at a cost of $530,000. As part of their proposal that they gave us, it did not include some services that are needed to make those improvements. So what they've asked us to do is have a contract amendment for out-of-scope services for geotechnical services, which will include ground penetrating radar, geotech borings, boring logs, sampling testing as necessary, and the preparation of a geotech report. This is for in order for us to properly design or appropriately design the pier and kayak launch and the foundations within the area, and we want to do it before the freezing temperatures come because it will be, we would then delay the project because it wouldn't happen until the spring. The total is $30,096, $27,360, of which goes to their geotechnical engineering partner and geotech firm, and they have a 10% markup, which I think might be negotiable with them. But right now, I'm asking the board to do a $36,96 change order. As you voted on tonight, the ARPA amendment has already been included in their contract, so that was a contract amendment for the ARPA. So this would be funded, that number tonight would be funded through ARPA funds. And I spoke with council earlier before the meeting. It's sufficient that we have Woodard and Kearns ARPA addendum signed versus having their geotech. So if we went on our own, we'd have to go do the whole ARPA thing with the geotech. Not that that's an issue, but just so you all know. I do have one public announcement to make. The supervisor is looking at me to say it. So as everybody here may know, or people out in the audience, we are in a drought area, a drought condition right now. We have not issued voluntary or mandatory restrictions for water use, but the state is about to do that throughout. As you can see, some of our reservoirs are low. We were contacted by Putnam County DOH earlier this week. And what they asked was how we're doing, right? So as old Ed Koch would say, how am I doing, right? So the Water District 2, Lake Lenida, fortunately, is spring-fed. And so it seems to be holding its own right now with its, the use is at about 750,000 gallons per day. So that anything we can do, I know a lot of you here from Water District 2, anything you can do to do any kind of water savings, please do it. I know you're not irrigating, I know you're filling pools, none of that's going on. And we spoke to B&J, who operates most of our other water plants. Everything seems to be okay. Our systems are holding their own. We did have a problem in Lake Baldwin. We did lose a well there. That's well number 4 in Carmel Water District 4. So that might be problematic. So again, I can't instill enough that we need to do water conservation as best as we can within our water districts. And if you're on wells, you're going to experience it just as much. So I would, use water conservation methodologies, whatever you have to do. Take the 2-minute shower, no princess or prince showers, that whole type thing. So that's what I had. That was my public service announcement for the evening.
Rich, can you also, I know there was some notifications that went out to some of the homes regarding the lead pipe survey. Can you just explain the notifications that the residents got in the mail? Because I know over the weekend I got a lot of questions regarding those notifications.
No problem. So again, as I explained to the board, but I'll explain here, it's a federal mandate that came out that required all water districts throughout the whole country, not just here in Carmel, to do an inventory of lead pipes within their water districts. That then it was passed down to the state, so the state is requiring us to do it, which went to Putnam County, which ultimately fell upon the engineering department and the town to take care of it, most of the town, right? So the inventory is just that. It is an inventory to identify if we have lead pipes. We are 99.999% sure that none of the infrastructure that the town has is lead. We've never installed lead lines. There are no lead lines. We know also that when we did the meter program, most of the homes, again, are copper inside. The difference is we have a main that has a service line that goes. There's a curb box. You're all familiar with your curb boxes. You're in your water district. From that curb box to your home, we don't know what that pipe is. What we do know is in certain cases, if the house was built after a certain date, we, the town, and we know that lead wasn't used because lead wasn't available. So if the older the house is, there's not a chance that there's lead, it's just unknown. We don't know that there's lead there. We have 10 years to do this inventory, so the letter that went out was just advising people that the inventory was performed, that the area that they lived in or their home has an unknown, and that there are methodologies that need to be done ultimately, but over 10 years we have to figure out how to go and identify those. So for instance, if somebody does work on their house and is doing work on their line, or there's a leak in their line, they will identify it. They should contact the engineering department. We can cross you off the list knowing that there is no lead in that area. When we do repairs, and we do repairs on curb boxes, we're doing that information. We're inventorying that. So that is what that notification was. Of course, it puts the fear of God in everybody. Unfortunately, because scare tactics get everybody going from the feds on down. So that's where we're at. So that's what it is. I hope that helped explain it a little bit. I tried to put it in simplest terms without cursing and being upset.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
So on December 11th, we're going to have an informational meeting to explain again what the process was, how they reviewed the plans, what was done back 2018, 2019, for the proposed water plant to replace the existing water plant in Water District 2. So that's December 11th. During the town board meeting, we'll have engineers and experts here to explain what the process was, how that went about, and what moving forward the town is looking to do. With that said, resident comment, 5 minutes, please. Say your name, where you're from.
Hello, my name's John Butler, 40-year resident in the hamlet of Carmel, and more specifically, oh, there's the clock. I feel like I'm in a Formula One race or something. And more specifically, a resident of Carmel Water District Number 2. With the understanding there's another quote-unquote information meeting on December 11th, unless that information meeting consists of an understanding and acceptance that the proposal process for this $27 million water treatment plant was defective, and that in actual fact, there were efforts made by the commissioners of the water district, that is, town board members, to go out and seek actual grant funding for this project, then whatever information you're going to share has no value. It's useless. What the information we do know is, according to what you have done and what you're proposing, you're going to go out and get $24 million of municipal bonds, the debt to be paid by the 1,500, 1,600 households of Carmel Water District Number 2, and only those households. No state money, no federal money, no money from anywhere. So there's been a lot of calculations.
I just want to interrupt you, because before you, yeah, it's all
Stop
right.
the clock.
It's fine. It's
Stop
fine.
the clock.
It's fine.
Stop the clock.
If you paid any attention to any of the times we've done
Yeah,
this,
I have.
there's ARPA money going into that. What is that ARPA money? Federal money. There's money coming from our congressman, federal money. So you can go on, but please,
okay,
don't tell me facts, and then you just
What ARPA
go on.
money? What ARPA money? Since you opened the door.
ARPA money. The ARPA money
How
is-
much? From where?
The county gave us ARPA money that we are spending $460,000 for the property. Congressman Lawler is giving us $1.4 million or $1.5 million for the design. So there's money flowing in. Until a design is done, an actual design, blueprints, you cannot apply for federal money. So I like that you have your talking points, but try to stick to actual facts and not hearsay and how that you're paying $2,000 a year and that this is going to cost you, all right? Just
Well,
try to
that's an
stick to the
actual
facts.
fact. The town engineer has said quite specifically in his last report that the additional money, tax money for water for CW2 households will be an additional $924 a year, additional to what's already being paid. Stop the clock.
So I think what was presented was 688.
Incorrect.
That's
So
what was presented.
That's incorrect.
Okay.
That's just
So-
incorrect.
So I will stop arguing with you. You can go on with your statements and
Okay, I thought we were having a
Go ahead.
discussion, not an argument. But, okay. So anyway, the bottom line is this. There's been a lot of folks that have, in the community, that have gotten together. There's been a lot of discussion amongst very knowledgeable people. And the bottom line is that when and if the bonds are approved for this project, which is defective in its genesis, then the households in CW2 will be burdened for the next 30 to 40 years for the payment of these bonds. It's a generational debt. It goes to children and grandchildren. And we get back, it's a money issue, but the money issue is based on the design and the process that began in 2019. And therein lies the problem. Okay, therein lies the problem. And I use figures and dollars and cents based on my own personal situation. I think I'm pretty average family, probably less. So I'm already paying $650 a year in my tax bill just for water. The proposed increase, according to what I've read in the report, is $924. Okay, so now the basic tax that I pay, just tax, not usage fees, is about $1,500 a year for water. That will actually be more than my total town tax bill. Add usage onto that based on my actual usage, the bills I've gotten, I'll be paying $2,000 a year for water. That's a conservative number. Many have said, many people that really know what they're doing, that that is too low. It could be substantially higher. So what am I asking? I think what the people in this room, in the water district, are asking. Let's just stop. This is a lot of money for the people in this water district. Let's be respectful of those people, of the residents, and just take a new look without using contractors and people that we've used and have thousands and hundreds of thousands of contractual relationships in the past, and just do a stop. And let's look at it again in a reasonable fashion. If there's some reason that this needs to be now fast-tracked after 4 or 5 years since the original proposals, I've asked this question before, I think everyone would like to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, my name's Charlie Cole. I live up in the Hamlet. Now, information, I've said to you in other times that you people have a communication problem, which you still do. You haven't corrected it. This is the first I heard that we were going to have anything on the water district. You said on December 11th. Where is that meeting?
At the town board meeting on December 11th.
Right here?
Right here.
Okay, because I think the town board is being negligent on everything that they're doing. Now, we have another project, the Fair Street in Carmel, which is a very important project too. And nobody was there from the town. None of you.
Mr. Cole, they did it during the town board meeting.
Well,
That's Putnam County is doing that work, Mr. Cole.
you got to keep your eyes and ears open, you know,
Well,
to
I
see
can't
what the
tell that-
hell's
I
going
cannot
on.
tell-
You people have to get along together with
We're
the
getting
county.
along, but I don't tell Kevin Byrne when to schedule his meetings. They did that on the same
You
night as
you
town
could have at
board.
least had one person there from the town board come up and answer any questions that the people might have, but you didn't do that. You know, and that
They
there,
they had a
and
meeting
there's so
explaining
much that
their
goes
project
on.
at Fair Street.
I don't think you people really care about what the hell goes
Mr.
on
Cole,
up
that's
in the
it's
hamlet.
It's a county road, and it's county
Well,
construction.
that's
What
just
is-
what-
What questions am I going to answer about a county
That's just-
construction process?
That's just one thing.
Okay.
Now, with the project on Fair Street, I just threw that out there. But mainly it's the water. You know, there's a lot of money spent for that. I don't know what went on with the bidding, and, you know, the design and all that, but the total figures that you came up with, you probably have to allow at least a 20% over, you know, for all kinds of extras while the project is being done, because you're never going to come in with the bid price. There's always going to be extras on, and you got to allow that 20%. Now, another thing is it sounds like you people are just throwing that at us. You know, with this $900 extra thrown out there. I don't know where that number came from, but if each household has to come up in Water 2, each household in Water 2 has to come up with an extra $900, you know, that's a lot of money, and people can't afford it. You got to think about the people too, not just about your positions up there. And I guarantee you, if you go through with this, with the way it looks now, that you're not going to be sitting in that seat after the next election, and neither is he.
Okay. Did you go to the meetings that they had up in Carmel back before the previous? Did you go to those and listen to all that at the Carmel
I
High
went to
School at the
one
library?
meeting with a past administration
I think there was.
in a
there's been
school
like 3
library.
meetings, yes.
It was in the high
And
school
they explained
library.
all of this, that was
2019.
And that's the only meeting that I know of
Okay.
that's been had.
Yes.
But,
So that, but it's not being thrown
you know,
at you, this has been going on
see,
since 2019.
you know, the town engineer throws out a letter about lead pipes, you know, and that's just one lead pipe in a house or something, and you people can't communicate with us until give us information about what's going on. You should let us know if you're going to have a meeting on the water district. You know, we've got to come out and see what the heck is going. I don't trust you people now
Okay.
with what's been going on here. You know, it seems like all at once this water thing is just being thrown right at us.
It's not all at once, this has been dragging on since 2018.
Well, how about an update once in a while?
We had a meeting up in Carmel at the firehouse where we had a presentation. The Carmel Firehouse, right down from your house.
You had a presentation on the water?
Yes.
On the water plant?
Yes, at the Carmel Firehouse. Yes, and the old meetings, the previous meetings are all on the website. queued up,
Forget
and
the
all of
website.
All right,
You know, that meeting I went to on Fair Street, there were a lot of older people there, and they don't deal with the website.
Okay.
I don't deal with it. There's a lot of people, you know,
Well, it's
you
just, I'm
can't
just saying it's on the website. If you did, you could you could watch the old meetings, and you could see they explained all of this back then, and then we explained it again the other day in Carmel, at the Carmel Firehouse.
Like I said before, you have a communication problems. It's not just the website. You can send something out to the people in the mail and let them know what the hell's going on.
But who, Mr. Cole, who pays for that? You do as the taxpayer for that mail.
Jennifer Doherty. I'm a Hamlet of Carmel resident and a Hamlet of Carmel Civic Association member. And I do appreciate you guys all being up there. I know what it's like to do a full day's work and then show up in front of an angry crowd. I did school board for 9 years. So when I have to make a poster, because I'm really bad at making posters, okay, and I made 4 of them tonight, it's because people are annoyed. People are upset.
But why did you make a poster? What is that based on?
I made 4 posters
What are they
tonight.
based on?
Okay, these are based on the fact that I was really unaware of what was going on with the water district. And I knew, having been born and raised in Carmel, that the infrastructure needed to be repaired for like 10 years. And then I heard some numbers going around, you know, we need a new plant, we need a new plant. It was 2019. There was some RFPs going out, and then didn't hear anything for the longest time. Didn't go to a meeting at the Carmel Firehouse, and may have been asleep at the wheel, but a recent meeting woke us all up, okay? And it was because we found out that you guys needed a supermajority to pass the bond, and that failed by 1 vote. And then we got together at the firehouse, and all these people are here because of that, right? So one poster I have says, why did the RFP specify a DAF, right? When we didn't know.
I don't think the RFP specified.
I think the RFP that they showed at the meeting, right from your website, did specify DAF. Okay, so that was
That's
one question.
way before
That
me.
was one question.
Yes.
The other question was, Why are there 0 grant proposals out there for this, right? 0. We have a grant writer on staff.
Yeah, so
Sure.
I just said about the grant, you
Mike?
need the design done before
Let me
you can put for a
finish,
grant.
and then you can respond, right? So that's that. Other things are, it's just, we're blessed with Lake Lenida being a very healthy, right? Healthy. Low PFAS, as far as I know. We can add things on. We don't need a Taj Mahal plant. We can do with a Ford, and we can afford a Ford. We'd really like this to be, go back to the table and figure out something that's cheaper for the residents. My taxes are already at 20, right? So this is significant. I didn't stay abreast of it. You guys have been working on this for a while, but now all of a sudden it seems like it was voted on and it almost passed by this much. And then we would have had no choice. So now everybody is here to say, we're not happy with that number, we can't afford that number, and we want you to go back to the table. So it would be great, thank you for having another meeting on December 11th, but instead of just giving us the same information that we already have, come with a new slant, come with some new information. Okay, have the engineer come back and answer those questions.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have
Right.
engineers and experts explain what the process was, why this is the right.
But you should
Sit.
take to them before my time runs out that this, I know what it's like to get a room full of people. Either their kids are getting awards or they're aggravated and pissed off. This room full of people is not getting a kid, is not having their kids get awards.
Yeah.
Okay? So we don't want to hear the same thing in December about how we got here. Now
But that's
you know
the
that these people are
what you're hearing
awake.
and what you're hearing is the facts on how it all came about. It's before I was here.
That's
But it's the-
fine.
But no, I'm saying it's the facts. I looked at the facts, listened to the meetings.
Right.
And saw what the conclusions and why they reached those.
three
All
of
that is on the website that you could read the documents.
Right.
And make your own decision
And three
based
of
on the
you-
facts,
three of
not on
you-
that somebody selling you something tells you you can do it for less.
This is open session, right? I'm supposed,
Yeah.
3 of you voted yes. 1 of you voted no. Had 1 of you not voted no, I think this would have been a moot point. Honestly, I'd like to know what your yeses were based on, okay?
Based on the facts and all of the information that was presented.
So you were comfortable with this number, $26 million plus overrides, for Hamlet of Water District 2 people to pay. You were comfortable with that, with 1 response from an RFP and no other systems looked at except for a DAF system.
That's not, all of them were looked at, and the system that you're being told is the right system. I'm not an engineer, and the person that tells you this isn't a design engineer, although perhaps they tell you they are. That's why we need the engineers to come. We can have,
Okay.
we have a DAF system here already running in the town of Carmel. It's
Now, do
it's
12
right here using Lake Mahopac water. That's the system we have.
That's a system you have for Lake Mahopac. In
Yes,
Carmel,
and
we have a
and it's working
diatomaceous
fine.
earth system,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you. I'll
Thank-
be there on the 12th.
Thank you for coming. The
Okay.
11th.
I'll be there on the 11th,
Good,
on
good.
December 11th. I just ask that you come, knowing this crowd, hearing this crowd, please come with a different slant than just, this is how we got here. We'd like some new ideas. You have a few
We
weeks.
spent quite a bit of money, or they spent
Not
quite a
like
bit of
what
money
you're about
to
to
get here.
spend, not like
but
what you're
they-
about to spend.
Has there been any reports or any studies done with alternative technologies other than DAF?
That's what,
So where are those reports?
I don't know where those reports are. We'll find out on the 11th.
I think that's what they want to hear. Has there been other technologies that have been explored?
Yes,
If
they were, and they were
Well,
explained.
hold on, don't
at
raise your
the-
voice.
At the
Don't raise your
other
voice.
meetings, they were
I'm calmly
explained.
asking, if there was other reports done, where are they? Let's furnish them. Let's prove to them that this is the system that they need to spend their money on.
We-
That's
we
all they
posted-
want to hear.
we
They
posted
came
the
here.
answers
Hold
to that
on,
on the
hold
website.
on, Mike. They are taxpayers. They came here today because we are trying to spend $27 million. We work for the taxpayers. I don't think that hold on, let me finish. If this is their only option and they have to spend the $27 million, then that's it. We've tried every single option possible. If there's reports that said that we looked at alternative technology, let's get those reports and let's provide it to them. That's all they want to see. That's it. Am I right?
Thank you, Rob. Greg?
Good evening. Greg Elner, resident of the Hamlet of Carmel, Carmel Water District 2. I'm also a county legislator that represents many, if not most, of these people. My understanding is that Dan Birmingham also has some representation in Water District 2. And Supervisor Cazzari, I am going to deal with some very specific facts because I did read the report because I work in that industry, water and wastewater. Your RFP had an experience clause. That experience clause required that all submitters have at least 5 references similar to the town of Carmel utilizing DAF as part of their process. By putting that in your RFP, you have limited the number of respondents, and you've basically denied any alternate technologies. Also, fact, the report, that 100 and some odd pages, never provided a comparison of costs of all the other potential systems, whether it be direct filtration, gravity, or pressure. Not there.
Isn't that graph in there, though? There's a graph in there that
with pluses and minuses,
yes.
But none of it has costs. What everybody, and I think I speak pretty clearly, we're upset because the initial cost is too much. Second thing is, from my knowledge of the county and with engineers, and I know for a fact as of a week ago, no intended use plan was filed with the state EFC, which is a source of grants and low interest loans. You do not need a full design in order to apply for that.
So before you go on about your grants with the state, that's the state scam. They don't give you the money they get from the feds. They loan it to the town. This town has such a good bond rating that we get a better value by going out and doing bonds. So to say that we never filed with the state for their scam is not, that's like a disingenuous thing to say. That we don't do that with the state because it would cost you, the user, more money. That's why. We get a better rate.
Well, possibly. I can't comment.
No, but it's just to say we never did that as an attempt.
There are grants from the EFC, WIA grants for water projects. Never been applied. There's 2 separate issues in my mind. One is lower the overall cost. I would love to see you do a value engineering on a process, whatever is the best process. I'm not here to say select this. I'm just saying what we have is too damn expensive.
Yes, and that is why me personally, and I'm not an engineer, so I can't tell you numbers, but from what my understanding is, that by using the microfiltration, which will cost less up front, but now you end up with a sludge that's filled with PFOAs.
Oh, hold on a second.
That is
Stop the
toxic,
clock.
that we are going to have to spend more money to dispose of, plus the additional energy cost. That's the reason why I voted yes on doing this, was the O&M cost. So you're going to pay less today, but once this goes into operation, you're going to be paying more every month for a process that costs more. That's the way I understood it. That's why I say to do
if
that.
I may,
It's come to my knowledge that with the DAF system, the energy
don't say that.
consumption is actually higher than the microfiltration, 1. And 2, in Westchester County, every single DAF plant is required to be manned 24/7.
And we don't- and ours is not. We have a DAF.
Per the Department of Health.
We have a DAF running now. It's not 24/7, and it's not, that those facts are not consistent with what we already are running at Water 8.
if I may, please.
Yes.
1, filtration alone. You mentioned microfiltration. Microfiltration, I'm assuming you're referring to a membrane process?
Yes,
Well,
your
a
membrane.
membrane process kind of splits. So for our discussion, and just to make it simple with everybody, let's say we have a 100-gallon-a-minute system. Of that 100 gallons a minute, which according to your engineer's report, there is not PFAS present. So if it was there,
PFAS in the water.
Of that 100 gallons, only 1 to 2 gallons would be concentrated with PFAS. And then to treat such a small amount, 1% of the flow is not an overly expensive system. Yes, you will have to use carbon and/or resins, and yes, you will have to have them trucked away and disposed of. But you just said it here. Everybody here in this room, if it's costing us $50, $100 a year more for operations,
Well, I don't think
and
that's
we've
a-
saved millions of dollars, well, there's 1,762 people, but I would
But you're-
hope that you would go to a true value engineering and look at true costs for every potential
Well,
process.
and-
Filtration, DAF and filtration, and membranes. And the last thing is, yeah, you have DAF on another one, because it is not a clear lake. DAFs are used commonly in wastewater, and when you do not have clear. It is used when you have algae blooms. Per your report, no recorded algae blooms in Lake Glenida. So I understand the information, but I don't believe you've been giving totally correct information.
But the cost of disposing of the carbon, getting more carbon, and disposing of any PFAS waste is going to be very expensive.
If there's a DAF system and there's
If it's
PFAS,
1%
you
of
still
your
have to
flow
put carbon.
versus 100%
You
of
still
your
have to get
flow?
rid of, you're still going to pay a lot of money, and, yeah,
Well, if the numbers were in the report, then we could make that educated adjustment,
then
but
maybe,
there's
then
no
maybe we
numbers
could
in
ask
the
the
report.
engineers to get us numbers on these things.
They should have
That's-
done it. How much did we spend for the study? 100,000? 80,000? How come it wasn't included?
And I think another question too is that I think if we could get those reports where we explored alternative technologies, and DAF is the only way we can go, why are we building a Taj Mahal? Why can't we buy a packaged plant for significantly cheaper than a custom-built plant?
Well, we can discuss that with them on the 11th. You can ask that question. Like,
Perfect.
that's a question you can ask. But-
Thank you.
But you're not a design engineer, right?
No,
Okay.
but I sell to,
But
I
you
sell,
s- but
I
you
sell
sell them,
equipment to
yes.
these plants.
But you sell
And I
them,
can
yes.
also tell you another fact, okay?
Yes.
By saying in your RFP, you only want engineers with previous DAF experience. I can name a couple engineers. I even see one in the room where their firm has done 500 water treatment plants.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many of them had DAF? 0.
Okay.
You've limited your respondents.
They limited it in 2018, not we did.
Good evening. Hi, my
Hi.
name is David Keith. My grandfather, back in the late 40s and 50s, ran the water system for Carmel. And that was a small building right at Willow Road and Route 52. Very small structure. It was scary as a little kid to go in. Then it transferred over to our new plant that you're using for the past years. I would just hope that this isn't a dead deal, that this is not etched in stone, and that you go out and bid and have a design build. So anyone that's designing this is going to be subject to the cost of building it, and they're going to own the project. Anytime you have somebody design and then somebody else builds, you're going to have cost overrides. And everyone in this room is alive and living here today with the water we're drinking and water too. So how bad is it? And can't we ask the companies, here's our square footage, here's a building we already have, can you make it happen in this footprint? And that should be what it is. I know when you go out and you limit it and you start to really say you must and you must and you must, you really don't have a lot of people at the table.
Right.
So I would hope that it's not a dead deal, that it's open for discussion, and there you are.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Peter Gebhardt. I hope the light doesn't shine off my dome too much, but,
Hello, Mr. Gephardt.
so, I'm only going to talk about what Hazen and Sawyers actually had in their report. And I understand also that you, as a town supervisor, wasn't here when this was first done. So there's a big problem in the amount of increase in the price of this unit that we're going to have for Water District Number 2 from what was first envisioned to what it is now. Huge difference. So I'm just going to go over a couple of points. And I've heard it talked about before, which is the DAF system, which is called a dissolved air flotation system. Okay, so DAF is well suited for water sources that have algae. So in fact, from Hazen and Sawyer's own report, they did not find any algae at all in Lake Lenida. So there's no algae in Lake Lenida. It says it right here that no HABs have been documented to have occurred in Lake Lenida. This is Hazen and Sawyer's. So if there's no HABs, what do we need a DAF for? Okay? So let me go on a little further. Harmful algae blooms, HABs. According to Hazen and Sawyer's report, I just paraphrased it from theirs here, have been no documented to occur in Lake Lenina. Now we have the other things here. PFAS substances. Low levels, Hazen and Sawyer says in their report, less than 5 parts per trillion. These are acronyms, folks. I'm not too familiar with them, but PFOA, PFOS, and PFHXA were not detected in Lake Lenida. That's according to Hazen and Sawyer's. None of this. As a matter of fact, they say that low levels less than 5 parts per trillion were detected, but I looked at our annual drinking water report that we get, and that shows even lower levels. PFOA at 2.65 to 3.29, and PFOS at 2.19 to 2.47. I believe the critical number is 14 that the state has set, okay? No, am I incorrect?
It's 4. I think it's 0.4?
State is 10, feds are 4.
Okay, state is 10 though. Right,
Feds
okay.
is what we have to
Well,
go back to.
either way, we are below 4, well below 4. So per Hazen and Sawyer, a plant with DAF cost projected, this is when I go back into their report, at $16,480,000 to $19,753,000. If you're going to do a membrane filtration, you add $800,000 to $1.5 million. So the original conceptual cost was low, $16.48 million to $19.753. Now the cost is projected to be $27,400,000, and a 30-year bond will add $1,012 to each Carmel Water District home. Our present taxes are very high, and people will struggle to pay an extra $1,000. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How you doing? Brian Green, lifelong resident of Carmel. So I'm wondering you just did an assessment of all of our houses to determine what our tax increase could be if this project goes through, is that correct? Like a new assessment? So was New York City's property, the DEP property, also reassessed? Because there's a rumor going around that they just got approval to have their valued property be less than it is currently.
Yes, they did certiorari. They took us to court, and they reduced their tax assessment.
So now all of our property values have all gone up, but New York City's property has gone down in Putnam County.
Well, New York City's was raised by the previous board, so when they raised their taxes and said you're not paying enough, they went to court and fought that and got it reduced.
But the basis of our septic system and this plant, right, is to basically help keep New York City waters clean.
That's the sewer, right?
Right.
Not the water, right?
But New York City does not want to help pay for it. So basically, we'd be all better off taking a garden hose and flushing it into them and let them deal with it down the road. right? I mean.
Well, we'll end up all getting
I know
arrested,
it'd be,
but yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So one of my other questions is, there's a group of us that are not connected. We don't have water and we don't have sewer. Are we helping pay for this if we're in the district? Because I was told when I had to redo my personal septic, because New York City is across the street, I had to increase my amount of fields, and I had to have a DEP rep come and look at my fields I had it engineered and everything else. And they asked that I had to have additional fields on my property because DEP was across my street.
You're in the sewer district?
Stoneleigh Avenue. I'm in between the hospital and McDonough's. So there's about 6 of houses do not have septic or water. Previous administration, when we came, there was a group of us that came, and they said, you can connect, but you have to cut across, the gas line is on the other side. It's on the house side, not the water side.
Right.
We'd have to get past the gas line, across the street, cut down about 75 yards through Stoneleigh Avenue to connect. We would pay for the road to be put back together and everything at our personal cost. If this remediation goes through to fix these pipes, are you going to extend it so we can connect easier, or we're still would have to connect to those? Like, am I going to pay, sorry for everybody, but am I going to pay for everyone else's pipes when I have no use of it whatsoever?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you speak to Rich afterwards? Give him
I'd be
your-
happy to.
Yeah, give him your address, and Rich, you can get back to him with regard to at least, his little section.
Yeah,
of
there's
home.
about 6 of us
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are not
I don't know the
connected.
answer to that question.
Yeah, I didn't think you had to pay if you can't connect.
Like I said, we originally looked at, it was about 16 years ago, we looked at connecting, and I got told, by all means, you connect, but I had to have a special contractor to connect to the system. Basically, it was almost the value of my house to buy the time, because I had to pay for Flagman, Union, repave Stoneleigh Avenue. I mean, I was better off selling my house and just moving.
Yeah, I thought they were going to run another line,
They were supposed to.
but then that got nixed because people didn't want to spend the money to run another line to the hospital. So it
Correct.
didn't- So,
So we just got told, well, too bad, you're out of luck, and if you want, you can pay for it on your own.
yeah.
So,
Rich, can you get back to him tomorrow, in the next couple of days?
sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody?
My name is Dwight Keith. I live on Fair Street in Carmel. So my question is about the property that has to be acquired for this site. There was a mention that there was some $460,000 that would be coming from some state or...
The ARPA money, yeah.
What is the full cost of that property?
That's the cost, but it's very close to what it was.
that
We're
is?
paying for.
Is this property
59?
being purchased, or is this being taken under eminent domain?
It was taken under eminent domain.
Okay, so it will get only the
Fair market value.
fair market value of property next to a sewer plant?
A water plant, yeah.
Or-
It's not, the sewer plant's down the hill
Okay.
where the hot dog stand was, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Is the distillery project dead in the water?
Because
they haven't.
They would certainly love to have clean water to make
Yeah.
whatever they're going to make up there. And rather than dig 15 wells and go through that whole process. So there might be an opportunity there to
They've-
reach out to them.
They keep coming, but they don't come to the town. For some reason, they go to the county and talk to them. I don't know why.
I don't know why.
They don't approve anything, it's the town, but.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Frank Chianca, Carmel Hamlet resident.
Hello, Frank.
I think you've heard it all tonight. I'm not going to reiterate any of that. I just want to say, when we first started this, we needed water pipes, and we needed pipes replaced in the hamlet. We needed water towers, which we still need from one. So everybody in 2019 thought this was a great idea. We still need it. Obviously, we need something. The problem is, I don't think anybody at that time realized how this bottom line was going to affect our tax bill. And, you know, as Peter said earlier, they were talking something like $19 million, $17 million, and now we're talking $27 million 5 years later.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know what the solution is, but what I'm trying to say is we're clearly not in a position to afford what they're, you know, what this is probably going to cost. And I guess my fellow residents are just trying to say, look at it again, see where you could help us out. Nobody mentioned property values. I used to be a home inspector, and there was a development in Brewster with a water treatment plant that was very expensive, and nobody wanted to buy those houses. So I don't want to put our hamlet in that same position where people, you know, I'm 81 years old in 2 weeks. I want to sell my house sooner or later.
Yeah.
So think about the property values. Just, all I'm saying is give us whatever help you can. Thank you.
Yes, we could dig into this. Thank you, Frank.
And Frank, what we're going to do is we'll obviously talk to the consultant engineer and the engineer with regard to this project and see when it was designed, when it was brought about in 2018. I wasn't here, if you remember. So I'm working off of, and many of us are working off of what was done previously during that time. But everyone will have an opportunity, obviously, to listen and to ask questions to the engineer and the consultant engineer as to why it was done this particular way and why they think that this is the only type of plant for this facility. And you're right, back in 2019, 2020, it was 16 to 19 million. As time goes on and everything's gone up because this lousy economy that we've had, that's a contributing factor to the increase in the cost. So, but we will address that all with the engineer and consultant engineer
And we'll see if
on,
we can
on
get
the 11th.
costs. We'll see if we can get comparable costs for the different, and we'll see what, actual, like somebody's real plant that's running it, not somebody's made-up numbers. We'll get actual that we can say, yeah, look, the city of Timbuktu, this is what they use. And then we'll know. Because I don't want you to, 5 years from now, you get hit with these bills in O&M. That's my fear. And then you're up here screaming and yelling at the next supervisor, what did you do to us? Like, just spending the money wisely is what I was thinking, not throwing your money away, Frank. It was, you're better to spend money on a good roof than do a shoddy job, and then it leaks. That's all, just trying to be smart. Yes, Mr. Ryder?
Can I just say one thing first?
Yes.
Sorry. So Frank, you mentioned the tank project. As probably you're all aware, the board is aware, the new tank has been placed at Everett Road. We are putting out to bid the other, we're going to be doing an upgrade to the ShopRite tank, and we're going to be replacing the Lindy Road tank. And the reason why the Lindy Road tank is being replaced is because the design on that, weird as it may sound, has a concave roof with a storm drain in the very middle of it. And when we reviewed that and we brought it to the county, they recommended that we have a new tank. So that project is going to be put out to bid. It was something that was approved years ago. So just wanting to let you know, let the board know, I'm sorry I'm talking to the audience, but most of them are here from Water 2, that is going to be going out. That work will be conducted next year. So the other ugly Everett tank, Mr. Butler, I know you don't like that ugly tank, it will be taken down next year.
And if I remember, Rich, I think we designated or dedicated ARPA fund money to those tanks as well. I don't remember the amount.
There are ARPA funds, there are tax dollars, the ARPA funds of grant money being used for that tank project.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but just so everybody knows, that is going on. It's something that maybe you've forgotten, maybe you haven't, but the tanks will be looked at. And so the one behind ShopRite is just going to kind of have a cleaning. We're going to upgrade it. It's going to have a mixer on the inside of it. The Lindy tank has to be replaced because of the way it's designed, and the other Everett tank will be removed. So that'll be going on next year,
As long as you're sitting there.
okay?
Has not, for years, the town been putting in WIA, all of those state grants, and they deny us and tell us, oh, we'll loan you the money. Isn't that true?
So yes, I mean, so we've been offered EFC funding at a higher rate than what Mariana, what the town being AAA bonded or AA bonded that we are, or not bonded, but.
But we regularly get
AA1
denied for our
bond
WIAs.
Rated, so
Yeah,
therefore.
we have put in, we've had the grant writers put in all that, and it's not just in Water Two that we're denied,
Sewer-
we're denied
Sewer
everywhere
5.
else. We have consent orders
Yeah.
that we can't get money from the state from, and we have 50 homes that we're gonna have to put a new wastewater treatment facility in, and it's gonna be at a cost of $1 to $2 million.
Yeah, consent orders, when the state comes in and tells us that you will fix the water plant or fix the sewer plant. And that's what I don't want to see happen, is that then we're forced to do something.
Right, and
We'll work on the
normally,
numbers.
that's normally a trigger to get money, and, you know, the
Yeah.
legislator Elner can attest to that. When you have a consent order, you normally get money for that kind of stuff, right? We're not even getting money at those areas. Guess what? You all make way too much money. Ha, is what
Yes,
I
but the
meant that
congressman's been getting
sarcastically,
this money.
everyone. We don't get the money from the
Mis-
state because we have.
Well, I think this district qualifies for low-income funding, I believe. Isn't that correct?
That's what the grant
That's
writer
what our
said.
grant writer said, that
That's good.
that we could apply for grants for this, project.
Then that's, well, you know, certainly go and pursue that. We'll have that grant writer do it. We have all the information. we
Yeah,
can
he's
give.
good, the grant writer. Mr. Ryder?
Thank you for letting me take your time.
No, thank
sir.
you for speaking.
I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening to us here tonight. Yeah, we had a meeting up at the firehouse, and it was very, very illuminating. I own a number of properties in Carmel Water District Number 2, and yeah, I personally, it's my fault, I didn't know anything about this whole project, and I thank Peter Gebhardt and Greg Elner for bringing a lot of facts to our attention. And, you know, we appreciate your paying attention to us. And if you could just take a hard look at the costs and do what you can, see if there's some grant money available, see if you can get RFPs from more than one organization, you know, it could really substantially impact the cost. You know, Putnam County is the third highest taxed county out of 63 counties in New York State. And, you know, New York State is one of the highest property tax counties in the country. I don't know where that puts us, but we're sure way up there. And this is certainly, in my opinion, it's going to drive down property values, and it's going to be hard for people to handle. I mean, it may not sound like much, but you also, as Mr. Butler points out, you got to, if you earn $1,000, if you earn $1,500, it takes $1,500 worth of earnings to pay $1,000 after income tax. And, you know, we appreciate your paying attention to us, and we hope you can take a real hard look at it and do something for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the residents that actually reached out to me this week and last week about this was saying that the county, with their sales tax, they have all that extra sales tax. They pointed out to me, the woman's up in Mr. Butler's neighborhood, she pointed out that they are reaping the benefits of having sewer and water because of the businesses, the car dealership. So the county is getting the sales tax, but they're not contributing to your water and sewer, which I wanted at some point to talk to the board when we get this figured out and write something to our legislators and ask them, hey, can't you chip in? Because, you know, that sales tax money is more here because they're able to have commercial. If you didn't have commercial, if you were like the town of Kent and you had no commercial, there's no sales tax. So I just thought that came into my mind, and I thought I would mention it when Mr. Ryder said about
Well, you
his
know that
taxes.
I've been-
We at the county lowered taxes 1% last year, and we at the county were 0% this year. So the sales tax money was going back to the people.
Okay, it could go to the water district too, but thank you. And
Supervisor, you raised taxes.
thank you. Frank, shh, no yelling. Anybody else?
When he hits a good point, I gotta let him know.
Shh. Anybody else? Oh.
My name is Rosemary Gephardt. I'm a resident of the hamlet of Carmel and in the Water District 2. First, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate that there's a meeting in December. It just makes me think perhaps we should have had that meeting first, prior to your meeting last month. And I have to thank Councilman Kearns, because it would have been a done deal if he hadn't voted no. However, I'd just like you to clarify, how are we leaving this? Are you going to explore other options? Or is it going out to bid again? Or is it just going to be with this one company?
Well, I think that we should get the numbers so that we can show the facts of here's what it costs at Plant A or Plant B or Plant C, so we know.
This company is going to give Plan A, B, and C?
No, we'll reach out to
You will reach
other
out to
municipal.
other?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, to have good facts. And then the rest of it, the board will have to discuss on what they want to do. A lot of money went into this RFP back before in the other administration, so I don't know.
And I understand it was another
what will go on with that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
It's a couple of $1 million, I think, that's been already spent. And this time that has passed, that nothing was done, that like 40% increase in the price of this is because nothing was done. So, sitting on our
understand.
hands just makes the price go up more and more.
I just would like to see all options explored as well as grant money to bring it in at a reasonable cost.
100% we're going to do, Mrs. Gephardt, grant money, but like I said, you can't apply for a grant without a design already drawn up and a cost and all that. So
I don't know all the specifics, but I appreciate you looking into other options and anything available to
Yes.
lower the cost.
Yes.
Thank you.
So there's no design.
Frank, you want to talk?
No, nothing to say.
All right, if there are no other, well,
Just one last thing.
normally I don't let you come back up, but come on up and.
Just one last thing, for sure. The difference in the price from when it was first proposed to what we have now is way beyond inflation. Way beyond inflation. From 17 million to 27 million. That's $10 million as a proportion of 17. That's 2/3 increase over the original price. So you can't tell me because inflation went up 20% that we're going to pay a 2/3 increase for the plant. Something's wrong.
Yeah, well, I agree, and I think the supervisor, to his defense, he did send out an email to them asking them to provide their last 10 projects that they advertised in their bid to the town with the original estimated cost and what the final cost was, because I'm anticipating that it's significantly higher, and I think once we get those numbers, I think then we can really sit down and kind of make a educated decision on what we're going to go moving forward.
Yes, thank you. All right, there is no more comment. Can I get a motion to go to executive session? We have technology and personnel.
So moved.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.